Hello everyone, in this video I will be teaching everything there is to know about Ruby, from how to build her to the most efficient way to play her. If you learn anything new, or even if you don't, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more guides. But before we get into the guide, what do you think of Ruby? How good do you think she is? Be sure to leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think about Ruby. What's your experience playing her? What's your experience playing against her? Do you like her? Do you think she's a good hero? Just let me know down in the comments. For starters, Ruby is a fighter tank and her specialty is crowd control and regen. Despite her small stature, she is able to disable enemy heroes for a long time. She is a pain especially for melee heroes since they will always be within range of her skills. Her regen ability is amazing since she gets bonus lifesteal from equipment. She's also really fun to play. But anyway, let's get into her skills now. Starting with her passive, the first part of the passive says that she gets 10% lifesteal effect just for being in the game. She gets 10% lifesteal for free. The second part of the passive says that she doesn't get any lifesteal from her basic attack. So it doesn't matter how much lifesteal you actually stack, you won't get any lifesteal just from using your basic attacks. So she gets a lifesteal from skills. Kind of like the way Spellvamp works. You cast all your skills and you get your regen from it. The third part of her passive says that her regen, her lifesteal effect is increased to 115%. Here I have full BOD build and the physical lifesteal of 10% that I start with. So whatever damage I do, 963. So with 10% lifesteal I should get 96. But I'm seeing 110. 110 is 115% of 96. So that's how it's calculated. The 115% of whatever lifesteal you're supposed to get is what you would actually get. I don't know if that makes sense. The last part of her passive says that she can jump after casting a skill. You can move in a designated direction with the direction stick. Now, every time she jumps, she gets a stack that's written down here. It stacks up to 3 times and each stack lasts for 4 seconds. Each stack increases her physical and magic defense by a certain amount. All these heroes are complicated passes. Anyway, that's enough. That's all about our passive. So now our first skill. Our first skill is a simple skill, just a simple way forward. It does a single damage when the enemies are far away, and when they are at point blank range, it does damage twice. You see that there are 2 damages. Second skill makes her spin around, and in her spinning, she stuns nearby enemies and deals damage twice to them. Her ultimate drags all the enemies in front of her towards her in this cone-shaped area. It only deals a single damage, but it deals more damage than the other skills. Now, how do you use these skills to create the lifesteal demoness that is Ruby? The first step is to perfect using her passive, trying your best to maintain the stacks at all times. In order to do that, what I would recommend is to go into custom and try to maintain the stacks with 0% cooldown reduction. This is the hardest way to do it, and that's why it's best for the start, because once you can easily maintain it at 0%, you'll be able to survive the early game in a real match. So how do you do it? At level 2 with 0% cooldown reduction, you start with your second skill and then you wait until it's almost at the 4-second mark, and then you use the first skill again, and then your second skill immediately it's off cooldown, and then you wait again. You repeat that same process again, so you can kind of maintain the stacks just barely, but you can easily maintain it. At 25% CD reduction, you can maintain the passive with just your first skill alone. Just continuously casting your first skill and you'll be able to maintain the passive with just that. Minions are your best friend. You should always try to fight near minions, especially early game. This way you'll have a lot of things to vamp from and you won't have to recall. And if you combine with this with her passive, early game you'll be able to survive a lot of ganks. You should always try to save your second skill for when enemy heroes get close to you. Early game, if you're trying to maintain your stacks, that may not matter, but for mid game, when you can maintain your stacks with just your first skill, you should try to save your second skill for just when enemy heroes get close to you, so you can disable them. And finally, you want to perfect her special skill, the Flicker Alt combo. If you haven't seen my Ruby montage, then you should really go watch that. I'll put a link in the description and on the screen if I can. So there are 2 possible results when you attempt the Flicker Alt. The first one is the normal one, the result you're looking for, when you ult and flicker and you get the enemies back. Second result is when you flicker too early, and like that, and you move before the ult activates. So the result you're trying to get is the first one, but sometimes you may end up doing the second one because you execute the ult too fast, because you execute the skill too fast. So if you want to do it normally, if you want to execute the skill normally, you have to wait a few seconds before, you have to wait about a second before using your flicker. Okay, so you don't flicker too early. You have to wait until the skill is actually connected before using your flicker. The best way to master it is by spending a while practicing custom, so just get the custom and try your best to execute the skill as much as you can. And now for the build, emblem, and laning. For laning, you want to go to the XP lane, or if your team already has a fighter with a stronger early game than you, then go to the gold lane and focus on farming your items for the mid game. For your emblem, pick one from these three. The fighter emblem set like this with points on physical attack, physical penetration, and the second talent, Festival of Blood, to increase your spell vamp. Spell vamp works in a different way on Ruby. I will make another video explaining that. The support emblem set like this with points on cooldown reduction, hybrid regen, and the last talent, Pull Yourself Together. It's very good for people who can't cope with a mana regen and who want to use her flicker more often. And then there's everybody's favorite, the assassin emblem set like this with cooldown reduction, spell vamp, and the third emblem, talent, Killing Spree. It's very good because it gives cooldown reduction, it gives some extra spell vamp, and the regen when you kill an enemy hero is a bonus. For item build, this is the way to go. House Claws as your first item, or if you would prefer buying boots first, buy the vampire mullet first, then buy your boots, then buy the house claws complete. Tough boots are the best boots because they reduce crowd control time. That way you can easily get back in case you get stunned, so you don't lose your stacks. You can also use magic shoes for early game cooldown reduction. The next thing is to get some damage. Buy Endless Battle as your next item. It gives more cooldown reduction, it gives mana regen, and it gives some little more lifesteal. If you're having problems keeping up with her mana and you don't want to use support emblem, then buy 1 or 2 mana necklaces at the start of the game. Or better still, buy this item since it gives 5% cooldown reduction. Next, buy either Oracle or Queen's Wings depending on the state of the match. Oracle if you see the enemy team is already packing anti-heal, and Queen's Wings if you just want more lifesteal. I usually build it in this order because I want my build to be red, green, red, green, red, green. And finally, pick one of these 3 items. BOD if you want more damage, Rose Gold Meteor if you want more lifesteal and that shield that comes with it, and Brute Force Bracelet because it gives bonus movement speed every time you cast a skill or basic attack. That goes very well with her jumping passive. Every time you jump, you can get more movement speed. Some last things to note. While her CC is very good, she cannot initiate team fights because the range of her skills are relatively short and she can easily be kited. But she works very well as a support CC. When the tank has initiated, she can easily control the enemies for longer and add more chain CC. Once again, you should always try to cast your skills such that they would hit as many targets as possible, be they minions, creeps, or enemy heroes, so that you can farm from as many targets as possible. She combos well with AoE initiators as the chain CC like Tig, Atlas, and Kufra, but she doesn't do really well against heroes that outrange her because she doesn't have a dash and the range of her skills are short. Heroes like Changi and Aurora. But that's it for this guide. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something new. If you did, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more guides. But I'll see you guys next time.